Here's the question that decided the air war, and it has nothing to do with which fighter was fastest. What does an air force do when the men who taught it how to fight are dead? Germany's answer was to keep them flying until somebody killed them. Erich Hartmann flew more than 1,400 combat missions and finished the war with 352 victories, and at no point did the Luftwaffe take him out of the cockpit and put him in front of a classroom. America's answer was the opposite. In January 1945, with 40 kills and the highest score in the American service, Richard Bong was pulled off operations and shipped home while he was still winning. One of those air forces was running out of pilots. The other was manufacturing them. Every placement below is decided by how a country answered that, and by what it did to the war before the answer ran out. Not who had the best aeroplane in 1939, but who was still putting trained crews over a target in 1944. And the Air Force at the bottom of this list is not the one destroyed fastest. It is the one that had 4 years and an intact industry and never fixed itself. 9 air forces, from the bottom up. Italy's Regia Aeronautica finishes last, and it deserves the credit nobody gives it first. Italian pilots were superbly trained in the 1930s, and the Mach-E 205 Veltro that arrived in 1943 was genuinely one of the finest fighters anyone built in the war. Fewer than 300 of them were completed. That is the Italian story in one number. Italy could design. Italy could not build engines. Its fighters were tied to radials of around 840 horsepower, while Britain and Germany pushed past 1,000, and the license to build Daimler-Benz inline engines arrived years late, and in quantities that equipped squadrons rather than an air force. Across the whole war, Italy turned out somewhere around 11,000 aircraft. Germany built more than that in single years, and it fought anyway. In November 1940, Italy sent bombers against Harwich on the English coast, escorted by Fiat CR-42 biplanes. Open cockpits and fabric wings against Hurricanes with 8 machine guns and a radar chain telling them where to be. Rome had no way to replace those crews and no early warning network to keep them alive. Which brings us to an Air Force annihilated in 5 weeks that still ranks higher. The Polish Air Force takes 8th, and the first job is fixing the story you have heard, which is that the Luftwaffe destroyed it on the ground in the opening hours of the 1st of September, 1939. That is German propaganda, repeated ever since. Polish commanders dispersed their squadrons to camouflaged reserve fields days before the invasion, so the airfields the Luftwaffe bombed were largely empty. Polish squadrons fought for 2 weeks, and their pilots reported claims of well over 100 German aircraft destroyed. They did it in the PZLP-11, a gull-winged all-metal fighter that had been world-class in 1933 and was now roughly 100 miles an hour slower than a Messerschmitt 109. Poland lost. 5 weeks in, there was no country left to fly for. No factory, no fuel. Here is why it still outranks Italy. Poland's answer was to go and get replaced inside somebody else's air force. Around 145 Polish pilots flew in the Battle of Britain, and 303 Squadron was credited with more aircraft destroyed than any other squadron in it. Italy had 4 years, a working industry, and a homeland, and could not replace itself. Poland had none of those and managed it anyway, in a foreign uniform. France's Armée de l'Air ranks 7th, and this is the one entry where the reputation is worse than the record. The picture people carry is an obsolete air force, swept aside in 6 weeks. The WWII 520 was not obsolete. It was a real match for the Messerschmitt 109E in a turning fight, and French pilots gave a far harder account of themselves in 1940 than the collapse on the ground suggests. The aircraft were never the problem. France was building them faster than the Germans were destroying them, and by the armistice, French records showed more combat aircraft on hand than when the fighting began. That sounds impossible until you ask where they were. They were in depots, crated, waiting on propellers, gun sights, machine guns, ordered through a different ministry. Around 400 WWIIs were built, and only a fraction reached a squadron with everything bolted on. And there was no radar chain feeding a filter room, no way to put the fighters France did have where the Germans actually were. So squadrons were parceled out to army sectors and fought in penny packets. France solved the manufacturing half of the question and never attempted the delivery half. That is the difference between owning an air force and owning airplanes. And the next entry got it backwards. Japan takes 6th, and Japan is where the argument on this list usually starts. For 6 months from December 1941, Japanese air power was the most effective in the world, and nothing was close. On the 10th of December 1941, land-based naval bombers flying out of Indochina found the battleship Prince of Wales and the battlecruiser Repulse in open water and sank them both. 2 capital ships, underway, no carrier involved. Nothing in naval history had done that before. Japanese naval aviators went to war with hundreds of hours in their logbooks, and the Zero's range let them escort bombers across distances Allied planners had written off as impossible. Then the bill came, and Japan had nothing to pay it with. Japan did not have one air force. It had 2 that barely spoke, running separate procurement, separate engine programs, and separate aircraft for the same jobs, with a rivalry deep enough that a shortage in one service could not be covered by the other. Neither rotated veterans home to teach. The pre-war Naval Air Corps was ground away over the Solomons and never rebuilt, and by the Philippine Sea in June 1944, the replacements sent against American carrier groups had a few months of flying between them. Japan lost around 600 aircraft there in 2 days. An air force that cannot replace a pilot is on a countdown from the first morning of the war, however good month 1 looks. 5th place goes to Canada's Royal Canadian Air Force. And yes, that is above Japan. And yes, that is the placement you will argue about. Canada had roughly 4,000 Air Force personnel in 1939. By 1945, it was the 4th largest air force on the Allied side. And on the way, it built the exact thing every entry below it was missing. The British Commonwealth Air Training Plan put the flying schools where the Luftwaffe could never reach them, on the prairies of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and graduated just over 131,000 aircrew from across the Allied world. When the question at the top of this video came due for the Royal Air Force, most of the answer was a Canadian airfield in the middle of a wheat field. Canada also fought. 6th Group of Bomber Command was Canadian and absorbed the loss rates that came with it. In June 1944, Flight Lieutenant David Hornell pressed an attack on a surfaced U-boat with his aircraft already burning, sank it, and died in the water afterwards. 1st Canadian Air Victoria. Cross of the War. Australia and South Africa have versions of this same argument, and both deserve a hearing. Canada gets the slot because of the training plan, and it sits above Japan because Japan's Air Force peaked in month 6, while Canada's was still growing in month 60. Germany's Luftwaffe ranks 4th, which will read as an insult. So let us be precise about what it earned. From 1939 to 1942, it was the best in the world at the thing that decides ground battles, which is talking to the army. Radio-equipped liaison officers riding with the panzer divisions could call aircraft onto a target in minutes, in a war where the French system needed hours and several telephones. The Messerschmitt 109 was built in greater numbers than any fighter in history, more than 30,000 of them. German pilots ran up scores nobody else came close to, because the men who scored them were never taken off the line. That last sentence is the whole problem. There was no rotation and no training command staffed with veterans. So when attrition arrived in 1944, there was nothing behind the front line. Allied bombing of the synthetic oil plants from May 1944 took away the aviation fuel that training itself burned, and replacement pilots were reportedly reaching squadrons with a fraction of the hours their opponents had. On the 6th of June, 1944, Allied air forces flew somewhere around 14,000 sorties over the invasion area. The Luftwaffe managed a few hundred, and the Messerschmitt 262 was not held back purely by Hitler demanding a bomber version. Its Jumo turbines burned through their service life in hours because Germany could not get the nickel and chromium to make turbine blades last. That jet was a metallurgy problem, wearing a miracle weapons reputation. Third place, the Soviet Air Force, the most complete recovery any armed service made in the war. On the 22nd of June, 1941, it lost something like 1,200 aircraft in a single day. Most of them parked in rows on airfields the Luftwaffe had photographed weeks earlier. Within months, it had lost most of its frontline strength, its experienced commanders, and the Western factories that built its aeroplanes. Then it answered the question by refusing the premise. If trained crew were the scarce resource, the Soviet Union widened the definition of who counted as one. It was the only air force in the war to put women into combat cockpits at scale. The 588th Night Bomber Regiment flew more than 23,000 night sorties in open cockpit biplanes, and Lydia Litviak became the first woman in history to shoot down an enemy aircraft. She was dead at 21. Behind that, the factories that went east on the trains came back online and turned out around 157,000 aircraft. The Ilyushin Sturmovik accounted for 36,000 of them, more than any combat aircraft ever built anywhere. What keeps the Soviets off the top two is reach. This was an air force built to fight in the 10 miles either side of the front line, and it was superb at that. It never developed a strategic arm worth the name, and German factories were never in danger from it. Second place, Britain's Royal Air Force, and it earns the position on one thing nobody else built in time. In the summer of 1940, the Royal Air Force was not short of fighters. Production and repair kept pace with losses across the whole battle. What it was short of was pilots, and everything about how it fought that summer was built to spin that resource as slowly as possible. Chain home radar stations, the observer corps inland, a filter room turning raw plots into one coherent picture, sector controllers putting squadrons at the right place and altitude by radio. The world's first integrated air defense system existed because Britain worked out, before a shot was fired, that its scarce asset was men rather than machines. Then it did the other half. The training scheme spread across Canada, Rhodesia, South Africa, and Australia. Fed replacement crews into a war Britain fought on 4 continents at once, from Coastal Command closing the Atlantic air gap, which cost the U-boat arm more than 40 boats in May 1943 alone, to the Desert Air Force to Burma. And the honest part, Bomber Command sent about 125,000 aircrew into that campaign, and 55,573 of them were killed, close to 1 in 2. The Butt Report in August 1941 found that of crews who believed they had bombed the target, only around 1 in 3 came within 5 miles of it. Britain answered the question, and spent the answer at a price still being argued about 80 years later. First place, the United States, counting the Army Air Forces together with Navy and Marine Aviation, because they drew on one industrial base and one training pipeline, and separating them would flatter everybody else here. The United States built around 300,000 aircraft between 1940 and 1945. What matters more is that it put roughly 193,000 pilots through its own flying schools, and it built that pipeline before it needed it. Around 15,000 American airmen died in training accidents inside the continental United States. That is what the pipeline cost, paid deliberately, because the alternative was Germany's arithmetic. Then it did the thing nobody else here could afford. It took its best men out of combat while they were winning and used them to make more. Fixed tour lengths, rotation home, veterans posted to training units. Germany's best flew until somebody killed them. The doctrine was not always right, and it got men killed while it was being corrected. On the 14th of October, 1943, the 8th Air Force sent 291 bombers to Schweinfurt without fighter escort, and 60 did not come back. That was the day unescorted precision bombing died as an idea. What made the Americans dangerous was not being right first. It was the ability to be wrong on that scale, absorb it, fit long-range escort fighters, and come back the following spring with more crews than the year before. By 1944, it was running 2 full-scale air wars in opposite hemispheres, with around 900 aircraft in 1 Pacific carrier task force, and an air force over Germany the Luftwaffe could no longer contest. Line the 9 up, and the ranking barely tracks the aircraft at all. The Mach 205 was a better fighter than most Hurricanes, and Italy finished last. The Zero outclassed everything the Allies could field in 1941, and Japan sits 6th. What the list tracks is which countries understood, before the shooting started, that an air force is a machine for turning civilians into trained aircrew faster than the enemy can kill them. 2 deliberate exclusions. Finland is not here, and Finland is the best argument against everything I just said. Finnish pilots in obsolete Brewster Buffaloes ran up exchange ratios no other Air Force came close to. They are out because there were a few hundred of them. And the question this list asks is a question about scale. If you think that is a dodge, it might be. China is out for a different reason. For most of the war, the aircraft, and often the pilots flying under Chinese command, were Soviet volunteers and then Americans. And an air force you have to borrow twice is answering a different question. So tell me which placement is wrong. Canada above Japan is the obvious one. Germany at 4 is the other. This is a small channel, and we read every comment, so make the case. Subscribe if you want the Night Fighters ranked next. Thanks for watching.